I've been a SWAT medic for 15 years. One of the things that's always struck me is how in tune police officers are with their surroundings. As firefighters, we need to develop that same sense. I'm Chief Rob Wiley. On this edition of FIREGROUND Flash Tips, we're going to talk about situational awareness. What is situational awareness? Situational awareness is knowing what's going on around you. What can hurt you, what can help you. Know as much as you can about your surroundings. A good example of this is being called to assist the police department on a check to well-being. They need you to force a door so they can check on someone who hasn't been heard from or their family is worried about. What you should be thinking from a situational awareness standpoint is, what's on the other side of that door? What put that person in a position that somebody has to come check on them? You hit that door. Is it a meth lab where you're going to be exposed to toxic chemicals, or a simple natural death where you may be exposed to body fluids or other biohazards? Are you protected for that? Be ready before you hit the door. Here's a few simple things you can do to stay safe. Let's talk about the scenario we mentioned earlier, forcing a door on a check to well-being. First, wear your gear. Make sure you've got eye protection, head protection, gloves, your turnout gear. They're going to protect you from a lot of things. A flash fire, biohazards, some chemical exposures, so you're protected right off the gate. Bring your tools. Make sure you've got what you need to do the job at the time you're at the door. The next thing you can do is when you approach a door, don't stand in front of it, stand to the side of it. Give it a good knock from the side. If someone has some malintentions and they want to shoot through that door, you're not standing there to catch the bullet. The other thing you can do is get some intelligence. Talk to the neighbors. Hey, what's going on inside that house? When's the last time you saw that person? Do they have any dogs inside the house that might be vicious or a problem? The more you know, the safer you can be, the smarter you can be as you approach this door. Let's take a look at some actual footage that really demonstrates the hazards that you can face on this type of an incident. In this actual footage from the northern part of St. Louis County, police officers were called to a home to check the well-being of an elderly female who hadn't been seen in some time. Once they got on the scene, along with EMS and fire department personnel, they could sense the odor of decomposition from the street, so they probably knew they had a dead body. They started to put together a situational awareness picture. They used their nose, they smelled the decomposition. They used their ears, they heard a dog barking on the other side of the door. And then as they gathered intelligence from the neighbors that the person hadn't been seen in some time, and yes, there was a dog in the house, and it was known to be aggressive, they formulated a plan. They called in an animal control officer, and then they put on their protective clothing. You can see here in the video where they're putting on protective clothing in preparation for making entry to the house. It's important to note here that they slowed everything down. We're not in an emergency situation. Now you should be in the mode of protecting yourself and getting set up for a successful operation, bringing all the resources you need together, working with those resources to formulate a plan that's safe and effective. So the firefighters have their gear on, they've gotten the proper tools, they've got animal control on the scene to deal with the dog, and they approach the door. Notice that the police officers come in right behind them. Their task is one task only: open the door. The police officers have their weapons drawn in anticipation of encountering a vicious dog. They've had this before. This is a high crime area, and they've had numerous encounters with vicious dogs. Not only have they been attacking the police officers, but they know that people have them in their homes for protection. So notice as they go up to the door, you'll see them force the door carefully and then get out of the way. Their job is done. Don't forget, those forcible entry tools not only will pop the door, but they can be a defense for you as well if you're attacked. Now you'll see they've moved out of the way. The police officers move in with their guns drawn, ready to take on the dog if he becomes aggressive, protecting the firefighter and EMS personnel behind them. The animal control officer moves in with her dog pole, secures the dog, and then moves the dog off. It was a really good operation. The thing that I want you to remember is, once you've gathered your intelligence, you know what you're dealing with, slow down, get a plan. You've got a dead body on the other side of the door. This is not an emergency situation. You have time to make a good plan, make sure you've got your protective measures in place, and do it safely. Remember, know your surroundings, get intelligence, be safe. What you don't know can kill you. Situational awareness is everybody's priority. I'm Chief Rob Wiley. This has been another FIREGROUND Flash Tip.